Шановний
Dear Mr. President of the European Council, dear Ursula, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear journalists.
Meine Damen und Herren.
Today is 361st day. And we have had the national anthem and the support of Ukraine today. Ukraine is fighting. Ukraine can protect its independence and the European freedom. Dear Charles, dear President, thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much for allowing me to take part in the meetings, and I feel it's only fair that Ukraine takes part in the meetings of the European leaders. The Ukrainian language is part of the European discussion. Ukrainian language is part of the European Parliament, and that is a part, indeed, of the European practice when Ukraine will be a part of the European Union. Dear Ursula, dear President, I would like to thank you for the joint efforts of the Ukrainian government and the European Commission in Kiev. In our state, where we discussed not just our issues of defense, but our future, our movement and our integration, our real life, the defense and protection of our everyday life and our values. I'm absolutely sure that not just Ukrainian, but the European values as well. I have just participated in the meeting of the European Council. Yes, it was the closed meeting, but I want you to understand and to get the feeling of what we discussed. And this sense was defined by one of the leaders of the European Union, who said that the long-term peace in Europe will only happen when Ukraine will gain the victory and will become the member of the European Union. This is the unity we've managed to build. The unity which means that the European Union will be with us until the victory of Ukraine. And Ukraine will become the part of the European Union. Our discussions in Brussels have been very concrete, very precise. We were talking about security. We were talking about this saving lives and stability. We were talking about the return of justice. And these values are not just Ukrainian values, they're European values as well. And we have discussed this. And Ukraine used to export the electricity to the European Union. We were making your social life, your welfare, dependent on that, but Russia has occupied and switched from the network our nuclear power station. That is the violation of your interests. Values, yes, but also the interests. And we can talk about every single element of the Russian aggression in the same way. Yes, they are trying to destroy our economy and our cities, but they're doing it in such a way that it should affect all the Europeans. We are very grateful to you for our air defense systems, but also I would like to stress this is in the interests of all of us, not just Ukrainians, but all the Europeans, that Russia should not make new missiles, that Russia should not attack our cities. So we have to move to another step and introduce the sanctions against the drone, the UAV and the missile industry of Russia, and also the part of their IT sector which gives provisions and support to the Russian terror. Then we can reduce the destruction and we can remove the source of our defense, of our dangerous attacks. I have been very inspired by your statements that Europe will be with us until our victory. I've heard it from a number of the European leaders, and I'm very grateful to them for this. I've heard about the readiness to give us the necessary weapons and support, including the aircrafts. And I will have a number of bilaterals now, and we are going to raise the issue of the fighter jets and other aircraft. So we are working and continue to work in Brussels. I want to thank all of you I wanted to thank the European citizens, the citizens of the European Union, for all your support, for the way you support our people, for giving us the refuge and the shelter for the Ukrainian citizens who were trying to protect their children from the bombs. Millions of our citizens are now supported in Europe, and I hope that your citizens could see that the European values are real. Thank you very much for this. Thank you for everything, friends. That's the only way I can address you. Friends, thank you, and glory to Ukraine.
Thank you, Mr. President.